Hey everyone, Eric Thompson here. Hope that you are doing well. In the car, Sunday afternoon, I say we go for a drive to the library to get the next film in the AFI Top 100 series, The Last Picture Show. On the way there, if I can fit this thing down. Now, the camera's probably not going to focus. Oh, I think I'm in drive. I can't see the panel. Okay. The camera's probably not going to focus. Maybe it will. Anyway, while we're on the way to the library, let me tell you about number 90, was it 6 or 95? Whatever it was. Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee. Movies like this are the reason I'm doing the AFI Top 100 review this year, 2013. I had never seen Do the Right Thing. Seen Spike Lee movies before, but not this one. I was so pleased to have watched it for your sake, for my sake, at least hopefully for your sake. Plot synopsis. Very simple. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give it away. Spike Lee plays Mookie, M-O-O-K-I-E, who's a young man living in Brooklyn, mid to late 1980s. And the film really is sort of a day in the life. But if you know Spike Lee, then you know that there are going to be strong considerations of race and racism, especially in the New York setting. Do the Right Thing is the third or the second of 6 films which are sort of portraits of Brooklyn, especially in African American communities. And so Do the Right Thing is really just one of these, you know, sort of a picture, a glimpse into Spike Lee's rendering of the African American community. Very powerful, very strong, very potent. Especially what I enjoyed about this, and part of why I think it belongs on the AFI 100 to sort of address our first question. You know, why would this movie be on the AFI 100? Because it is a brave film that tries to address racism, not necessarily... whoop, hold on. Wait, whoop, sorry, I didn't turn too hard, it just, you know how it is. Whoop, whoop, hold on. I'm gonna get in a car wreck because I'm gonna record it for the insurance company. So, I don't know, it was my stupid fault. I want to say gender equality, but that's not really what we're addressing here in this film. Really, it's just racism at its very core. Disagreements, misunderstanding, disrespect, hatred. From what? Why hatred? And maybe, you know, that's sort of what Spike Lee is asking in the film. Do the right thing. Why hatred? You know? And so, I believe this movie belongs on the list because it unashamedly and unabashedly asks that question and you know, makes that statement. Do the right thing. Especially from Spike Lee's own experience, even as a young man when he made this film, etc. Is it relevant? Absolutely yes. Not only because of Spike Lee's great lineage that he has carved for himself. 35 films he himself has produced, not all directed, but produced almost all of them through his own production company, which he started when he was a very young man indeed, but now it is very successful, very profitable. He paved a way for filmmakers to address these issues in film, in cinema, where before it was dicey. I mean, of course there are movies that deal with race before 1986 or whenever this film was released. I can't remember. Vegas will help me with that. But Spike Lee and his bravery definitely opened up some doors. And I think that part of why this movie is relevant today, worthwhile today, is in part because of his not only bravery in the theme and the thematic material, but in the production. One, you know, you have fun, interesting camera angles in this movie, which I really appreciated. He wasn't afraid to use forced perspective in kind of funny ways, and you know, when you take the frame of the camera and you just tilt it, it looks weird. You know, like pictures that are taken that way look weird, you know. But he does it quite a bit, as if like you're talking to someone and you sort of don't understand what they're saying. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of like, what? We get a lot of that during conversation when people are like, what? And so he just tilts the camera. A lot of looking into the camera by characters. That's a trip. That's a little different. Also, I had the impression watching the film that I was watching a stage play. One, because everything happens, the whole action of the whole story happens within one day, of course, and within about 2 city blocks in Brooklyn, okay? Maybe a couple scenes that seem to go outside of this little area. But after having watched the movie, I thought, gosh, I feel like I could have seen that movie on a stage, acted out just the way it was. And it really plays like a play. The drama, the rising tension, the climax of the play, the performance, the story, etc. Divinity. Well, obvious themes. Love, and loving thy neighbor. Radio Rahim, one of the characters, has 2, I don't even know what they're called, but they're you know, pieces of jewelry that go on his fingers, you know what I mean? They kind of go across like this, and one says love and one says hate, and he delivers almost a sermon in which he talks about love and hate fighting with each other, and how love, you know, beats down hate in the end, and all of this stuff. And so very strong themes of that throughout. They sure used God's name a lot, but in vain, you know, in curse. Beyond that, you know, we have sort of these ideas of tradition, pride, anger, of course, vengeance, equality. So lots of Christian themes. I personally want to say that I see God in this film in the character of Mookie, among others, but most specifically in him. And maybe that's the easy answer to give, but I think it's the most true. We're at the library now, and you know, Mookie sort of sits on the sidelines, but he also incites a lot of the drama of the story. The very end, during the great tragedy of the tale, there he is on the sidelines, even though he himself was a component, I mean, a pivotal player in the whole action, the whole drama itself. And he reminds me of Jesus somewhat. Of course, Jesus did not sit on the sidelines for anything, but at the same time, you know, he does not overly involve himself. Jesus has a way of putting his words out there and seeing how people respond, you know. Of course, you know, he's taken great action in the world by dying on the cross for the complete sin of humanity. But, you know, that word of salvation has been issued, and now he waits to see how people respond. And that's what Mookie does a lot in this film. He kind of throws it out there, and then he just watches to see what happens. But of course, just like God and Jesus, Holy Spirit, the Trinity, the one God, the triune God, deeply involved in creation, but still watching and waiting for us to see what will happen, just as Mookie watched and waited on the streets of Brooklyn to see what would unfold there amongst his neighbors. And so that's number 95, 96. I can't remember. I have trouble with the numbers. Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. I do recommend it to you. It's rough. It's unapologetic in its approach to racism and what's a dramedy, I guess it's called. White reviewers said that if black folks saw it, they would riot. You know, they said that if blacks went to see the movie, they would riot because of how upset they would be at it. And there were, of course, no riots. Spike Lee said that, I think that, what did he say? Oh, Of course, I can't think of exactly what he said now, but he came to, pretty much, he said, I think black people will be able to handle seeing this movie, just like they can handle seeing any other movie, and they did. And so, anyway, there were a lot of little trivia about that, about the movie. Martin Lawrence, you know him, of course, from Bad Boys and so many other movies. This was his first film, and so Spike Lee kind of gave him his start, his premiere, his theatrical premiere was with Spike Lee. Well, I better get into the library before someone else takes the Last Picture Show. Someone else who's doing the AFI Top 100 review. But thanks to everyone for watching. Of course, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm going to put a link in the description below to my sister-in-law, Emma. She made a video that's really, really cool, and I think you guys will enjoy it. It's sort of a self-portrait of her life, and it's really inspiring. Tori and I watched it last night, and it's really, really cool, and it's kind of a neat way just to share my family with you a little bit. So, Emma, I hope that's okay. If it's not, I'll take the link down, no problem. And of course, I'm wishing you all the best on this day and all days, my friends. Take care. Bye. I wonder if this thing even came out. I wonder if this is even still. It is recorded. 11 minutes. Oh boy.